Mm. I think I'm gonna get rid of Twitter again.
Uh-oh. I have Marty in Jamill's spot, Jamill's in my spot, and I can't even see myself. This is just great. There I am. Okay. I'm there. This is what happens, and now I gotta. There's Jamill, and now there's Marty.
Is it because last show we did the 2? Is that
No. You know what happened was the last show that we did with 3 was Amanda, and Amanda's usually in that side spot where you're at, and what with the template that I used for Jamill's in the center. So you were in the center last time, so your video was set to be the center, and then mine, I just didn't have my video open, so so that's what happened with me. That's hey, and welcome once again to the
time I didn't know we were on.
welcome once again to the Movie Stuff Show. Yeah, we're live.
Oh shit.
Yeah, we're live. Hey, look, guess what?
We like beer on this show.
We like beer.
We like beers.
We like beers.
We like beers.
Usually drink a lot of beers. Listen. We drink a lot of beers. Sometimes we drink too many beers on this show.
I don't think we've ever put it in on calendars though. I've never.
I always calendar my beer.
Calendar the skis. You put the skis in there.
You have to. You have to calendar the beers.
When you drink it with PJ and Squee.
You know, I thankfully do not have friends that douchey named that douchey. You know, like honestly, like I don't really have that many douchey friends.
You
used to. I don't even know if the chat's working. I don't know if anything's working on this. God damn it! This is just like I'm just ruining it all. I don't think the chat is working. Oh, yeah, I don't think it's working.
Oh, I can see.
The chat is working. The actual chat is working. I don't think it's on screen.
Oh, on screen. Okay, yeah.
So,
that's okay.
Well, I can fix it. I just test. Okay, let's get this. All right. Well, you know, listen. Oh, it is on screen. We're fine. Okay. There was just no one chatting. That's why I didn't think it was working. I didn't think the chat was working because no one was actually chatting. It's fine now.
Yeah, there's always a delay from the actual thing.
How's it going, Jamill? It's been a little while.
A while?
It hasn't been that long. I'm fine, just working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excited for Venom this weekend?
I'm not going to see that shit.
You run a comic book podcast. You got to see Venom.
Well, you fuck. I gotta go see Aquaman. If I gotta choose, I take Aquaman.
People like the best I have heard about Venom so far is it's like not awful. It's like it's entertaining in spots. That's like when people are trying their best not to be completely negative. The worst I've heard is it's in the Catwoman, Daredevil. You know.
Okay, I'm lying. I've seen it. It's not that good.
You said when I'd seen it first night.
Look, I'm still not for sure if Tom Hardy can act. Jack and Kyle yelled at
That is a good question, actually.
Jack and Kyle yelled at me for this earlier, like, oh, he's great. I'm like, are you sure? Like, I'm not. You sure he's a good actor? He just not like, you know, a bag of facial tits and voices? Because that's what it seems like.
That's the thing. If you had to say what's Tom Hardy's best acting performance, I don't know if
Bronson.
Yeah, like
Bronson,
easily.
But
even then, it's like facial tits and voices. But you're right, it is Bronson.
Yeah, Bronson's his best role. But I think that's a problem though, right? Is I don't know if he was playing something too far from someone that he knew or himself in his youth, or you know, like I don't know.
He's usually good when he works with Nolan. I liked him in Inception. I think he got a little bit of a bad rap for The Dark Knight Rises. I thought a lot of that was technical shit that just didn't work with the voices and everything.
If you say so.
I never saw the Mad Max movie he was in.
Yeah, I didn't like that. Yeah, I don't like that either.
No,
yeah.
no, the movie is great, but he barely does anything in there. Like I said, it's not too many movies where he just plays a normal person, so it's hard for me to gauge a lot of times. Then, like another thing about him too is he's very forgettable.
Yeah, he was in The Revenant, wasn't he? But that was
he was the dad. Not, I mean, the other guy, not the dad. The guy killed the son or whatever. And again, Revenant is I've never went back to rewatch it because it was just such a sludge the first time. But I was happy that Leo won just because he won, but I didn't enjoy a lot of that movie. I'll be honest.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm scrolling through his. It's
Bronson. Like it doesn't.
It's Bronson.
People, you say Tom Hardy, people, oh, he's a good actor, but then you try to look at it, there's not a lot of huge roles that pop out.
I mean, there's nothing bad per se, but it's just like
there was that film he played his own brother.
Well, listen, the quintessential Tom Hardy role that we are all forgetting, if my buddy Abe was watching right now,
God.
would be Shinzon in Star Trek Nemesis, of course.
I think he was like 19.
The clone of Jean-Luc Picard.
Wow.
He looks shit like Patrick Stewart. Like,
how did they do that? How did that work out?
You wonder why? Because we like beer.
Because we like beers. And we have to bring it up at least every 5 minutes, because that's how you get on the Supreme Court, apparently.
Well, there's a couple of different ways you can get on the Supreme Court, honestly, as this movie that we're talking about today will show us.
It's the first time I'd seen this, even though it's a kind of an old one, and it freaked me out how similar. It was like insane.
It made me okay. It made me upset because this takes place in 1991, and we are nowhere, far removed from this. But then it made me realize, like, if we watch some of these movies about, like, black rights movements in the 50s, 60s, and compare it to today, I'd get even more depressed because it's like, oh, well, yeah, things still haven't changed. And it's, I'm complaining that things haven't changed since 1991. Things haven't changed since 1776.
Watching this movie just brought me on the unpopular. Like, I have an unpopular opinion after watching this movie.
All right, go.
That Kerry Washington can't act.
Go to hell. No, it just look. If you wait more than 5 years, just don't say nothing. Just don't. Yeah. I know that's a terrible fucking thing to say. I know that's a terrible fucking thing to say. And God, because like the amount of mud you get dragged through for coming forward, especially at like a pivotal moment, and especially if the outcome is going to be the same, whether you say something regardless, what's the point of saying anything?
This poor woman.
And like all this is going to do is cause more hurt feelings, more discourse. Like, if you don't think what's happening now doesn't have anything to do with what happened 20 years ago with Clarence Thomas, you would have lost your mind. All it does is create more dissent and more hurt feelings, and people just hold grudges for like 20-something years.
And you're damned if you do, damned if you don't too, because you talk about it at the time that it happens. No one's going to believe you anyway, and then your career is ruined. No one's going to hire you. And then you establish yourself. You make something of yourself, and then you talk about it years later, and then they tear you down anyway. You can't fucking win.
Literally, if you turn this movie on like tomorrow and thought, like, you would think, wow, HBO just threw this movie together in the last 2 weeks or something, because just to, build off this, this news, because
that's what it feels like.
The first minute was like she said the exact same thing that Dr. Ford said 2 weeks ago, or 1 week ago. I've like in dog years now. The fact that that only happened like 3 fucking last week now. It seems like forever ago. But she said the exact same thing that
Anita Hill said.
I don't want to come forward. Nothing good's going to come of it. She didn't seek it out. Someone called her, and she kind of reluctantly had to do it. The one, to this now, Blazely Ford, is that what her name? Didn't like run out and jump on hard copy or fucking MSNBC to tell her story. She just kind of wrote a letter anonymously at first, hoping that nothing would come of it, and then The exact same. It's funny how it seemed like she did get treated better in a way as far as in front of the cameras. Behind the camera, she gets the same shit treatments. Now it's just on Twitter instead of in letters. But they were having the fact that the Senate was having meetings up until like 2 a.m. on Sundays and shit and all that type of stuff. That was kind of blew me away. I didn't remember a lot of this story because we were 9 or 10 when this actually happened.
Yeah.
You remember seeing it on the news, but I didn't. The fact that it went on for 24-hour friggin' sessions in Congress and shit like that was just insane to me.
Yeah, I was getting angry at a bunch of different things in it. The fact that they let Thomas speak first. What was just like, what the fuck? But I started to lose respect for Biden.
Biden
after watching this, Biden looks terrible in this.
Yeah, because they let Wendell Pierce playing Clarence Thomas comes off. They don't destroy him really. He gets to kind of maintain his dignity. But Biden just looks like a fucking he just didn't care at points or just cared more about the Senate rules.
Yeah, right. Like I mean, he embodied one of the things that I hate about politics is it's politics as usual. Right? It's like, well, this is just how things are done. This, I hate to say it, this is one of the reasons that Trump won, right? Is because he played on that, the good old boys kind of just doing their own thing. Nothing's going to ever change. And that's what Biden kind of felt like in this is like, well, it's kind of futile to fight anyway, so we might as well just kind of, work alongside them and just,
this is when they had the votes.
Yeah,
they were in control of the hearings, and they had the votes in the Senate, and they still just kowtowed.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And when Ted Kennedy comes out looking like the best person,
I did appreciate that point from Thomas when the essentially the idea that I'm going to sit there and get lectured by these fucking group of assholes. Ted Kennedy, who killed a woman for God's sakes. Other thing that shocked me is the fact that Orrin Hatch is still fucking there and alive.
I can't believe it.
You gotta be kidding me. Spectre and those other fucking assholes. Like, wow,
Arnold Spectre just left like a couple years ago, right?
Yeah, barely left. The one that was his friend, the senator. I forget. He's not a senator anymore, but I sadly researched and saw he's still alive.
Yeah, but Grassley's still there too.
Yeah, Grassley's still there.
Yeah, it's great. And again, another problem with politics, right? This is why shit doesn't change because people don't go away. You don't allow you're talking about term limits. I mean, come on, we should be talking about term limits for these fucking assholes.
In the start of the movie, when they start showing the the news clips of how it all started with Thurgood Marshall retiring, it's like he looked like he was half dead. Like, how was he still on the bench at that point? It's like he couldn't stand at his own press conference.
And this guy he was trying to hold out for a Democrat president.
Yes,
right?
and that's the thing you see. Like, there was another movie HBO did about the Supreme Court back in the Muhammad Ali case. So I guess that was 69, 70. That's
probably late 60s. Yeah.
The guys are walking up to the bench with canes. Like, half of them can't hear, half of them can't read the briefs that are given in front of them, so someone else has to read it and tell them. It's a scary idea. And now Democrats, we're just holding hope that Ruth Bader Ginsburg doesn't die, even though she's 85 pounds and whatever she is now, 90 something. It's like this is how the country runs somehow. It just doesn't make any sense.
I would say it was good seeing Peter Jennings alive and well. Like, oh, it's Peter Jennings. I was really excited to see him. Like, oh man, I miss that guy.
Like, even that, most of the news people are all the same. Like, Andrea Mitchell was still there.
Tom Brokaw.
Yeah, there was some of the guys that work for ABC now work for Fox, but I guess because Fox wasn't around back then. But it's just the same people.
Yeah, just talking about this as a movie, though, I want to say I enjoyed it. I think it was a well-made movie. I liked how they intercut like the live footage of things, and I think they blended that really well. It didn't feel like it was jarring, right? It didn't feel like it's like this the outside footage mixed with acting. It didn't feel like that. It felt like part of the story. The narrative telling of not to say they of course took Anita Hill's side, but as you mentioned, they didn't vilify Thomas. They showed him that more of a torn kind of like. You didn't know if he was torn over the fact that he wasn't cognizant that he was doing these bad things, or he was aware that he said these things but didn't think they were bad. Torn over the fact that he's going through this shit. They just showed him more of a tortured person than a son of a bitch. But I mean that's part of the problem, right? Is if things like this were acceptable for such a long time in society, right? I mean, sexual harassment, physical sexual harassment in the office place against women was commonplace in this country. And in Europe, there's still plenty of countries that a woman is anticipating it and feels insulted if they're not getting attention in that manner, right? So you have this old school kind of guy who, was locker room talking, blah, blah, blah. He probably in his head didn't even realize he was doing anything wrong. And then, how many years later, it comes back up to him, and in his head, he probably doesn't realize that he's done anything wrong.
That's kind of, and again, eerily similar to what's happening now with Kavanaugh. Like
a little different because of the.
Beer. And this wasn't as long as the Kavanaugh case. Kavanaugh case, you're going back 30 years. This was probably only 10 to 15, I suppose.
Yeah.
But to your point though, Jamil. Yeah.
No, you know what? I think this movie is okay. My problem with, and this is my problem with a lot of of these type of docudramas is that it doesn't delve deep. It's very surface level. I feel like I say that aloud and so, but it doesn't really get into these characters. I think that if they were going to make a movie like this, they should wait till everybody was dead, because as it stands, since whatchamacallit is not the villain of the piece as he should be, because he's still alive, they do play him a little bit more straight than he probably should be. If this was if they made this movie in 20 years, right, it would be a far more compelling movie because Clarence Thomas would clearly be the villain. But as it is, since that man is still alive and on the Supreme Court, they kind of have to play it safe.
Yeah. Well, the thing about it is, he spent so much of the movie just in his house alone, I guess. So you'd have to have his wife turn on him or something to get the kind of story of what was happening with him. And HBO does a lot of these kind of straight from the headlines type movies, especially with politics. They did it with, the recount about the 2000 election. They did it with the Game Change about Sarah Palin in the 2012 election. And they never get too. It's usually written by people who covered it, in the news. So a lot of it just comes off as things you saw in the news. So it's hard to get anything that deep into it. I felt it was a little rushed, to be quite honest. You didn't get a whole lot of. Exactly. Maybe that dealt with just how it was at the time, but how fast everything went in that time. 3 or 4 days of testimony, bang, 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 vote, like we're doing it now. But it seemed like there was no. We don't want Clarence Thomas. He's a bad judge, right? Why is he a bad judge? They kind of threw out the abortion thing, but they didn't really explain anything more than that. The movie starts with the Bork thing.
Oh yeah,
it's never really addressed again. I mean, it's just kind of the thing that hangs over all the Supreme Court nominees, I guess. But the fact that they started the movie with it, but didn't really touch on it again. It was like I said, and then Kerry Washington. I thought, I mean, she is a good actress, but I think she. Oh no,
I was giving you shit, but you're right about this role. She's not really acting.
Yeah, it was very much an impression.
Yeah.
Where everyone else in the movie was just kind of, even the guy doing Kennedy didn't do a heavy Boston, Kennedy accent you could do.
He's a good actor. His name's Treat Williams. Very good character actor.
That was Treat Williams?
That was Treat Williams to take Kennedy, yeah.
Oh, shit. I didn't even know this.
Yeah,
so you can kind of tell that she just watched the testimony a lot and probably just tried to get the speech down the way she did it, which I guess is a fine way to do it, but it came off like a just impersonation more than an acting.
But I like Greg Kinnear as Biden. I didn't like Biden.
I didn't get why they threw in the fact. I guess they just wanted to be accurate, but they threw in the fact that he had a toothache or some shit, and he went to the dentist. I was like, that didn't play into anything else other than showing him at a montage in the dentist.
And the fact that some shit went down, he still couldn't get his teeth pulled. He had to leave.
Yeah,
shit. But But to be fair to Kerry Washington, I recently watched John Oliver where they had
Anita.
Hill
Yeah.
on. Anita Hill's kind of emotionless. I mean, I don't mean to say it like that, but she's kind of like reserved. So like, she might like say what you want. She might have actually been doing like an accurate portrayal of Anita Hill because Anita Hill is not really a animated type person. She is quite reserved, just like that.
Yeah.
It's just the problem when they do call on her to have emotion in the movie, she really still doesn't do it.
Yeah. Like even at the end, she's like, "I'm just gonna leave." I'm like, all right, see you later.
I want to go home.
Do we know at all if the two, because the movie's kind of also told through two assistants to Senator Biden and Kennedy?
Yeah.
Do we think they were real people or just kind of a storytelling device? Because it's hard to tell.
It felt like a storytelling device, but I loved it because one was really stupid, and the other one just kept calling her like, "You are really stupid." It was great because in this time of Me Too and sisterhood and women loving each other, it's nice to see two women that just didn't like each other.
Well, it's great because the one woman's like trying to pressure Joe Biden's assistant to kind of do something. It gets like once finally had enough. Like, don't you work for fucking Ted Kennedy? Why don't you shut up?
Like, oh, we have his porno records. You dumbass, we can't use that. That's against the law. Long done silver, y'all. Long done silver.
Didn't Chris Rock and I think they showed it in like the credits, right?
Yeah, they did.
Chris Rock like played that role. Yeah.
Oh yeah, they showed the parodies because that was funny too. Because that's one of the main reasons that Claire Thomas was so upset is that he just knew this was always going to hang over him, and he's right. I mean, he doesn't help the fact that he's also never spoken on the fucking Supreme Court bench.
I mean, to be fair, look, I feel the same way about him as I do Brett Kavanaugh, right? Of course he doesn't talk. Would you ever fucking talk? I mean, seriously, if you was Claire Thomas, would you ever speak a motherfucking word again in your life if you could help it? Exactly.
It's just like when you mention his name, the first thing that always comes to my mind is Coke can. You know?
Yeah. look, but and the same thing with Brett Kavanaugh, right? Whether he did it or not, they're like, oh, he's so emotional. Well, yeah, you calling that nigga a rapist? Of course he's emotional. Why is he supposed to act?
Well, it's also about his calendars, Jamil, and you disrespected the man's calendars.
I mean, whatever. Look. More than likely, he probably did it. I'm just saying his reaction under the circumstances is completely normal. That's all I'm saying.
I think the tricky thing about this is, more than likely, he did it. I believe her over him.
Or did things that weren't becoming of what we hope a Supreme Court judge is.
Well, the fallback though is, and again, it's not a good fallback. If this dude took a lie detector test, I'm actually sure he would pass it because I think the dude was blacked the fuck out.
Not even blacked out, but just
drunk
believes
as
in his
hell.
heart that he never did anything wrong, regardless.
Like honestly, I think that's and it's almost the defense that the Republicans, they've been fighting it. It's like, oh, he's never blacked out, he's never done this, Honestly, Republicans should be like, yeah, he's got a history of blacking out in the past. He's fine now.
Like this is my problem with this whole case. If we're gonna talk about it, let's talk about it, right? Well, I do believe her, right? I just think, not necessarily she took too long, but like this shit feel really skeevy, like on both sides of this. You know what I'm saying? They calling her all types of names. The president's picking on her, and they breaking up this man drinking patch from when he was 19. Not even now. Not even something recent. Just like you know what it'd be like to be on someone being on TV and be like, oh, he was, and you read and they talking about you was passed out drunk when you was like 18 years old. Like, that has to be fucking mortifying. Like, every dumbass thing you ever did in your life is just dragged the fuck up. Like it's just.
I mean, it's a reason it's not a hard, easy job to get too.
Yeah, I mean, it just makes me feel icky all the way around. It just does. Then you got Trump, and it's just like I'm so tired of this shit. I just wanted to end.
My biggest problem with all of this, though, is there are other extremely qualified conservative judges that will vote the same exact way as this schmuck will. and it's now become we can't back down.
No, this has become the white man's last stand here.
You know, and that's my fucking problem here.
No, that's not true. Because again, it was the white man last stand 20-something years ago. With Clarence Thomas is black, but all those dudes was white.
Oh, sure.
And look, this is what I'm saying. She shouldn't even came forward because it just makes more hurt feelings. This right here is just going to poison the political discourse in this country for another 20 or so years. She should shut the fuck up because, again, if it did some good, maybe tomorrow he doesn't get in, then I'm wrong, right? But it all point that he's going to get in. So all this shit did was poison political discourse for the next 20 years.
And like it did with Thomas, just makes now an angry judge.
Yeah, exactly. So like, it wasn't even worth it. It wasn't even worth all this shit because let's face it. Not only that, they did the exact same thing with Anita Hill as they did with her, as in they found her. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like they found Anita Hill. Anita Hill didn't come forward. Dr. Ford didn't come forward. Someone found her, and just like, hey, and convinced them to talk. And they waited to the last minute to bring this shit up. If you was gonna bring this up, you should have brought that shit up 3 weeks ago or some shit. You know what I'm saying? Again, it just
that's the thing they say, but it wouldn't have mattered 3 weeks ago either. I mean, it just wouldn't. They'd have done the same lazy FBI report, and we'd be having the same argument.
Maybe. Yeah, probably. But
that
yeah, like
surprised me about the movie too, in that we all saw Kavanaugh last week, kind of being, indignant, screaming, and being upset. And everyone's like, "Oh, someone else could never get away with that." But then Clarence Thomas' speech was almost verbatim. I mean, he went up there and said it's a disgrace, and
he pulled the race card on other black people. Like,
sure.
Jamil, have you ever pulled a race card on other black people? Have you done that?
No, never. Because I understand.
Because it makes no logical sense. It makes no fucking logical sense.
I've forgotten that's where high-tech lynching had come from. Because that's the thing he mentioned in his speech, and they were perfectly right too. In that he went out there and gave that fiery speech, and they said not one of those guys are going to say anything to him now because they're all scared to death of him. What's Kennedy going to say to him after that?
Well, I mean, eventually Kennedy did speak up, and he gave that big speech about saying, "It's like this isn't about race, right? This is about sexual harassment."
Then it was over.
Oh yeah.
It was always over.
It was always over. Yeah, but that's the whole thing. Like that's unless he came up and said, "It's like, yeah, I did this." But even so, if he said, "Yes, I did this," that was the times. I'm sorry.
I misunderstood our relationship or some bullshit.
If he would have done that, he still gets fucking votes. He still gets in.
That was the thing too. That was almost like you said. It's the exact same thing that happened now. It's like because they're all watching her testimony, and everyone's in the offices, everyone's at the bar, like watching, like, oh shit, we're fucked. And when Ford was giving her testimony first last week, everyone's like, wow, look how believable she is. This might not work out. And then he comes out there, starts screaming, and they switch the news cycle, and it was all fine again. It was the exact same thing happened again. It was remarkable how. So much change, but so little has changed.
Hey, yeah, I had to derail this, but
go ahead.
What the fuck is the Alyssa Milano doing there? Like,
she's a big activist now on Twitter. If you follow her,
I mean, is that it? Like, when the fuck did she become important? Like, when did that happen?
Well, I mean, I don't know how you get.
It was 1986. It was a show called Who's the Boss. She was very, very important.
Because I'm seeing her everywhere, and I'm just like, why does her opinion matter whatsoever in this?
Yeah.
Like, is she running for politics or something? Like I'm just asking because I don't understand.
No, she's been very socially. She's been very socially active. She's a survivor of sexual assault and
I'm gonna say this. It seems this may sound cynical. It seems to me it's always like the D-list celebrities that all of a sudden want to be socially active because maybe, just maybe, they ain't getting roles no more.
Amy Schumer just got arrested protesting.
Yeah, she's been working pretty straight too. But she's not like what's her name from Clueless.
Alicia Silverstone.
Right? No, the other one that got the Fox job.
Stacey Dash.
Stacey Dash. She's not looking to parlay this into some kind of MSNBC, gig. Maybe she will let her.
Yeah, I'm just saying. But look, this is my problem though. Why do celebrities got so much say over this shit? Like it's crazy to me.
They're Americans as well.
Why? But why do we take their words over? Like it. Look, y'all. They ain't how shit get done. Like you know what I'm saying? That's why I want to leave Twitter again, cause again I'm on liberal Twitter. I'm now on right side Twitter because I don't feel like being called a nigga every 5 seconds. But all these people just retweeting celebrities. They're not even retweeting fucking like senators and shit. I'm like, who gives a fuck what Alyssa Milano has to say?
Honestly, I think Alyssa Milano probably has a lot more logical things to say than half the fucking senators.
No, it's just all virtually sitting. Look, I've been reading these tweets. It's just all it's the shit you always should say. I believe women. Yes, you should. But
again, at least 51 senators don't believe women. And
yeah,
that's a problem.
2 of them are women.
But guess what though? Alyssa Milano ain't gonna change that. Look, I'm picking on her, but it's just not her. It's just not her. It's just this celebrity culture, this celebrity activist culture is weird. That's all.
I mean,
I disagree.
Our president's celebrities.
Yeah, I think you need to fight fire with fire. Yeah, it's you got a celebrity president, and you fight that with other celebrities, and I think that's the biggest insult of him. He's always wanted to be accepted. He's always wanted to be embraced by these celebrities, and the fact that people in Hollywood and all these people have turned on him, I think it makes him even madder that he wasn't accepted by these people. I love every time John Oliver takes out his Emmys and his Golden Globes and all of his trophies that he won for TV, and he's like, oh, Donald, you never won one of these. And that's a sore point. And it's a sore point that Donald, lost technically won that dollar fucking lawsuit with the NFL. These is all just fucking grudges that this dude's holding.
Did that make you feel good, Dan, that John Oliver did that? Did that make you feel good?
It
did. Did he take down Donald Trump? Is Donald Trump still president?
Well, one could argue he's not really president.
If is Brett Kavanaugh not going to be elected into the Supreme Court tomorrow? Does that make you feel good? Did that take down? Look, y'all, I'm cynical. Okay, that's just where
You're being really fucking cynical right now, buddy. This is cynical. You're going depressing. Like I'm gonna need more beer here.
Sure. Yo, look. This is how. Look. I'm gonna tell you because like we really ain't talked about this. Leading up to the election, I watched all the John Oliver, all the Bill Maher, all the fucking Daily Show, right? And it made me feel good. Like, yeah, woo! And that nigga still got elected. So, fuck them shows because they don't do shit. They just preaching to the choir. It doesn't cause no real change. Like, yes, they're entertaining. And yes, it does make you feel good.
Okay.
But it's all empty
Then
calories.
What's the solution, Jamil? What causes change? Who's going to cause the change? Because the politicians aren't going to cause change. The celebrities aren't going to cause change. No one's going to fucking cause change. Jamil, who's going to cause change? Tell me.
No one. That's the point.
Okay.
This
then
shit
that's
is
it.
down.
Then there you go.
This shit is going down.
Let's just give up. Drink fucking beer.
Drink beers. We'll go to Squeeze. We'll go down to Squeeze. Drink some skis.
Look, again, I have a very unique like viewpoint because I knew he was going to win. Like everybody seemed to be shocked by this. But black people, of course he was going to win. Like, look, y'all, they gonna swing this there for at least another 50 years. Okay, we got at least another 50 years of them pulling this shit. Like at this point, I'm not even sure he's gonna lose in 2020.
Oh, I don't think that's certain at all.
Yeah, like I'm
not sure he leaves if he loses, to be quite honest.
Well, again, I told you that's when we'll be fighting the Trump wars, and I send my family to Europe. I'll be fighting the Trump wars in Georgia. It's gonna be fierce downhill. All these Trump supporters. But yeah, this is how I feel. This is how I feel after watching this. It's just like nothing's changed. Nothing never will. We haven't learned. This country ain't really progressive as we think it is.
They tried to do a kind of put a bow on the movie at the end with the kind of the wave of women that got elected afterwards, but I don't know. They made no mention of any kind of rulings that Thomas has been involved in. The fact that he's been on the court now for 20-something years and he's never spoken. I thought that'd been a nice thing to touch. The fact that he's probably voted conservatively at 99.99999% of the time.
And even if Kavanaugh get elected, I don't think Roe versus Wade is gonna get reversed.
No, that's the thing they just always say to keep people scared. But it's all the corporate shit that'll stay conservative. It's the money and politics stuff that'll all stay the same. It's the fucking if Trump never needs to pardon himself, he'll be fine. It's all that shit. And I'll be honest too. If we're playing all the honest cards, I don't even care if she's telling the truth. Me and Dan talked about this. I don't give a shit anymore. I don't want him on the bench for fucking every reason.
That's where
keep him off.
That's where we disagree. Like honestly, I mean, if you go back to the main issue here is the president is under investigation. Like the presidency itself is under investigation for this Russia meddling. So my theory, but my feeling is that there should be no permanent people put in place by a president that is under investigation. So they should wait until this investigation is over before any Supreme Court nominations. So that's just my feeling on it. But that's not the law.
No, you're right.
That's not the law.
He'll be under if he wins re-election, he'll be under investigation for 8 years.
Listen, I know, but it's not the law, right? The law is that the president at the time gets to nominate the person, and the Senate has to vote on it. So
not always though.
Well, yeah,
yeah.
That's why this is all happening because they didn't let Obama have his nominee, and they salted the earth, and now they're bitching that the Democrats won't let them grow anything. Yeah,
no, I don't disagree. But it's not the same situation. If this was if it was the same situation where it was in the last year of Trump and the Republicans trying to pull the same shit that it's a different situation, Marty. And
if it was the last year of Trump, they'd still vote him on.
I'm not disagreeing with that, but I would be more angrier about that. My anger is if this guy is a rapist, he should be punished for it, and he should not be a fucking judge at all. Right?
Of course, but
crimes,
our president is an accused rapist.
I know.
And so was our president of 3 fucking terms ago, and so was 6 other presidents, I'm assuming. I mean, just...
So I disagree with you. I disagree with you where you're lying or doing anything to keep this guy.
I don't really hope that she's lying. Think that she's not lying, but it's like I'm giving anyone against Republicans the benefit of the doubt.
Y'all, and that's the other thing too. Like we can be mad at the Republicans. But shit, we did the same shit with Clinton. The Democrats, the left did the same thing with Clinton. Clinton got accused by a couple of broads that he might have raped, and he still became president. And that shit got swept under the rug, and everybody loved Clinton. So like, it just goes to show you, it's all terrible, and the world is going to hell. Good night, everybody. No, I'm joking. It just goes to show you.
I mean, listen, I love that the black president that we had, he rigged the election and he caused 9/11 and he slept around and he had illegitimate children with several women and was divorced and remarried a bunch of times and had an affair with a prostitute that he paid off through a shell company.
Porn star.
Big
sorry.
difference.
Yeah.
Respect.
Yeah. Well, we don't know. It could have been prostitutes too, but I'm just glad that our black president, he was. But he did wear a tan suit that one time.
He wore that tan suit, and remember the time he saluted with the coffee.
Do you also remember the time that he fist bumped his wife? Terrorist.
Oh, that was a gang song. That was like gang culture.
Terrorist.
No, remember he did the coffee salute. He did the coming off the Air Force One. That was a week of Fox News coverage.
Yeah. You pick one of these things. One of these things. Obama's impeached. Immediately. Fucking immediately. It's just a shame. It's a shame. You literally have to have Black Gandhi up there to be fucking president. Because he does one fucking thing socially wrong. I'm not saying, because presidentially, he did some shady shit.
Yeah.
Did some shady shit. All presidents do. He did some shady shit. But if he does one of those social things, he's fucking gone. He's gone. They're sending him back to Kenya. At that point. They're just like, is that where they said he's from? Right? Kenya?
Yeah.
They're sending him back to Kenya.
I do love in his last year that he actually went to Kenya. He gives no fucks anymore. He gives not even a little bit. Like, I'm gone in like a year. I'm about to cash in. I'm about to write a book. They're gonna pay me millions of dollars. Me and Michelle about to chill.
I'm waiting for his book. I want him to do a real tell-all. I think that'd be. He's still probably too respectful to do it, but I want a whole book just on the meeting between him and Trump at the White House when he first got elected, because I'm sure that was fucking insane for him.
This fucking idiot right here. I gave him a note and he threw it away.
Well, keeping on the political trend, I am in love with this Dick Cheney biopic movie that's coming out. I'm in love. I've watched that trailer a dozen times. Fucking Sam Rockwell. Sam Rockwell it looks like a goddamn revelation in that movie. I know this.
I never would have even thought of him as Bush either.
It's perfect.
And, like,
it is.
They showed it like, oh my god,
perfect. You texted it to me, and I didn't even see the trailer. And as soon as you said Sam Rockwell as W, I'm like, holy shit, goddamn.
And look, I didn't know that was Christian Bale. I seen the trailer. I didn't even know that was Christian Bale at first.
He's psychotic, that guy. He's been down to like 90 pounds to play a role as a crackhead, and he'll go up to 300 to play Cheney. He's fucking nuts.
But didn't Richard Dreyfuss play Cheney in that one movie?
Yeah, Richard Dreyfuss played Cheney. Yeah.
Was that in the Oliver Stone one?
Yeah. And I was like, you know what? You can't get a more perfect choice for Cheney than Richard Dreyfuss. Apparently, you can.
Well, Josh Brolin, like I think Josh Brolin was a good W as well. But seeing Sam Rockwell, man,
you can get better. Apparently, you can get better.
It's insane, and that scene from the trailer is so good. It's because he's eating the chicken
wings.
He's eating the chicken. It's like,
are we allowed to do this?
We're gonna do this.
This is a primary colors level of fucking commitment right here.
It's amazing.
The one thing I worry about this movie is because I didn't really love.
I like Big Short. I did.
Short.
I like Big Short.
I didn't love. It was good. I didn't really love his storytelling devices he did in that movie.
Oh, he's a comedic director.
Yeah,
by
I
nature.
hope he doesn't do exactly the same thing he did, as far as like talking to the camera type stuff and weird shit like that.
I don't think so. I think this.
But Bale was great in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
Steve Carell, not as Rumsfeld, could be interesting. I want to see how he does that.
I mean, that's a weird choice from Rumsfeld, but that could work maybe.
I'm mentioning, and they definitely did. They were very nice to Mrs. Cheney,
Amy Adams, right?
Amy Adams. And I'll leave it there.
Jesus.
No, but jeez, I cannot wait to see Sam Rockwell in that role. I mean, again, like Bale will get nominated for Best Actor. I think Rockwell's going to get nominated for Best Supporting Actor. Amy Adams will get nominated for Best Supporting Actress. I mean, you got 3 awards guaranteed nominations right there.
Like the awards are almost already set. It's kind of crazy because you got Star is Born this weekend. That's getting nominated. Yep. Cooper and Gaga will get nominated. Yep. Everyone's getting nominated from fucking Vice. I can see the Queen movie. That kid will probably get nominated. If Creed is any good, Michael B. Jordan will get nominated.
I don't think it's gonna
just because people want him to get nominated for Black Panther, but they can't stomach doing that, so they'll give him the Creed.
I think Creed's gonna be any good.
I think Creed's gonna be awful. I saw people getting excited about that trailer. I was like, oh, this looks fucking stupid.
I think it looks good.
Yeah.
Why would you? Okay, Dan.
Okay,
you killed my father.
I did.
Years ago.
I did.
Just, let's say, why would you then want to come fight me at some point? Like, what is your motivation to come kick my ass after you killed my father in the ring 30 years ago? Because that's what the movie is. Yeah. The Drago kid challenges Creed for some reason.
What?
Like,
No, you you wouldn't leave that alone. What the hell? It made him an orphan.
Dan, sure. No, if I want to challenge Dan to a fight, sure. But why would Dan then want to come kick my ass too? It's like,
y'all, you see, Marty, you're looking at this wrong. You laughing, but no, it's not about that. It's about legacy, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, your dad killed my dad. I'm gonna beat the shit out of you and try to kill you.
I agree that, but that's
that makes sense. But it's the opposite here, Jamil. My dad killed your dad, so now I want to beat your ass, as well, right? So not only did I make you an orphan, not only did my dad make you an orphan, I want to make your
kids an orphan.
Kids an orphan. That's what I want to do.
If the thing is that the Drago's just shitty fucking people, I guess so. But
here's the thing, though. What my biggest problem is not even that, because I kind of understand that. Y'all everybody understand like that type of thing. My problem is this: Did him and Rocky make up at the end of Rocky 4? I thought they was like friends by the end of Rocky.
No, they were
I'm
not.
gonna
They were not
guess.
friends.
I'm gonna guess that Drago was kind of shunned for losing that fight. They'll try to tell that story because they mentioned a line where the kid was raised in hate or something. So I'm gonna think maybe Drago couldn't come back to America because he killed Apollo Creed, and then Russia shunned him because he lost, and he kind of told Gorbachev to fuck himself. And I'm assuming then like the wall falls, and he lives as a fucking farmer and kind of just shunned by society or something. So he's angry. And then the kid sees Creed living the life, being famous and shit, and then he wants some. But then again, there is at least looks like a 40-pound fucking difference between these two guys. So I don't know how that fight works anyway. So,
but hell, it looked that way in Rocky 4 though. The fucking drop, he was like 6'5". Sylvester Stallone was like 5'11". So like that's kind of a theme of Rocky. Look, I'm one of those people that think there's no bad Rocky movies. There's some better than others, but sure. I love all Rocky movies.
I don't know.
So I'm sure I love this. This is at least a little better than like Rocky 6.
I'm just glad that he recovered from his brain damage. I mean, Rocky 5.
Right?
He was like,
oh no, Rocky 2
sipping out of a fucking straw. You know?
Yeah, that was the crazy thing. Rocky 2 and Rocky 1, he can like barely read. He was so fucking dumb. And then by Rocky 3, he's like this sophisticated fucking guy somehow. And then Rocky 4, he's still, rich and doing it, whatever. Then by Rocky 5, he's dead. He's brain dead essentially again. And then Balboa, he can run a restaurant. I don't,
See, my thought on this was during Rocky 2, he suffered the brain damage that actually like made him smart for a while. It's like the Homer Simpson thing, right? With a crayon in the nose, And then, in Rocky 4, like, it just knocked it back to where he was Rocky 1. So.
Well, to be fair, at the time they thought Rocky 5 was going to be the last one. Yes. And it was a clear, like, Muhammad Ali, like, allegory they was going for in that.
His kid aged 10 years in one plane ride, so that was fun.
Yeah, so I'm going to see it.
Yeah, I'm very excited about this winter fall movies we're getting. Next, even though this week is Star Wars, next week is First Man. Gosling will get nominated for that.
Can't see that.
Because the flag. No American flag on the moon. Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you something. I just think the Republicans got a point, but that's just my opinion. I just think I'm still gonna see the shit. But I just think they got a point.
I think from a cinematic standpoint, it to me,
you should show it, right?
Doing it. I don't understand it from a cinematic standpoint.
Apparently, trying to pay for this movie. That's what I heard. I don't know if that's true or not.
Movie might end when the first step, and that just might be the end of the movie. I mean, they might not get to that point.
But again, if you're going to do this, the most cinematic thing you can do is plant that fucking flag and have like the sun like behind you as you plant it. It's the most cinematic thing you can do, and they're not doing it.
But
and that's fucking weird that they're not doing it. And this whole shit about it being a human achievement and not American achievement, y'all can kiss my ass. We did that shit.
I do believe NASA at that point, the scientists was mostly scientists we got from Germany and Russia.
Yeah. That's great now, but guess what though? They were American, German, and Russian slaves. American, German, and Russian slaves. You're right. You are absolutely right. But we stole them, kidnapped them, all those fucking Nazis, and said you do this shit.
But even the idea of it though, it's such a dumb dog-like fucking thing to do. Is like we pissed on the moon, so it's ours kind of thing. It's like, oh, we're gonna plant this flag. We own the moon now. It's like it's such a fucking dumb country.
No, that's not Marty. What the fuck is wrong with you? That's not stupid. They went to the fucking moon. They went to a fucking different astral body.
Technically speaking, we could have laid claim to the moon. We could have said it's like, yeah, the moon's ours now. We're here. Hey, you know what? You want it? You get here. Come fight us.
Yeah, exactly. Who gonna do it? Which one y'all gonna do it? Yeah,
who's gonna get there?
For some reason we can't get back there anymore. Anyway, though, so.
Well, no, we could. We could get back there.
We only went back once.
Yeah, but that's the whole thing. What's the point? What's the point of going back? Our mission now is to get to Mars. Like, Yeah,
Like,
going to the moon at
I
this point is like, what is it? Is it fucking spend billions of fucking dollars to go to the moon? Then there's choice.
Hold on, I won't go back to what Marty said. We're a dumb country for doing that. Do you think if Russia went, you don't think Russia would have planted a flag, or China or any other country would have did it?
Yeah.
Okay,
people, humans are just.
No, you talking about dumb country. Look. I understand.
Country.
Hey, look.
Maybe not for that thing, but
look. I understand this country is stupid right now. I get that, but let's not forget this is still the greatest country on the planet. Let's not we can have all our problems that we want to.
Yeah, listen, I don't know. Finland looks really good.
Actually, I was gonna say Denmark. Denmark is really nice right.
We're not number one in the.
I don't think I don't. Yeah.
Denmark is
all the Scandinavians. The problem with the Scandinavians, though, Jamil.
What?
You'd probably stand out like a sore thumb.
That's fine. That's fine. What I hear is, in other places in the world, they look at black people different. I think I would enjoy that. We're not necessarily looked at as the threat as we are here. Like I could go to England, I won't get shot because none of the cops have guns.
True.
I take an ass whooping over getting shot any day.
You just go there and put some fucking, fake crooked teeth in there. They won't even know. They'll just think that you're British. Drink some fucking tea. Kidding, I love it. I love London. I've been there a bunch of times.
I will say this, though. Beautiful. European racist white people scares me way more than American racist white people. Like those dudes look scary. Those skinheads over there look terrifying.
There's a lot of racism in Europe. There's a ton of racism in Europe.
It's mostly towards Muslims, though.
I don't know, man. There's a lot of racism in Europe. Yeah. Up until recently, the Netherlands. I mean, they still might have it. They for Christmas, it was Sinterklaas. Their Santa Claus had his helpers, who were called Black Peter, and it's a bunch of small elves in blackface that helped him every Christmas. And the thought process was, well, they're black from the soot going up and down the chimneys. But Santa Claus had black people working for him for free.
I mean, to be fair, I'm not defending it because it is racist, but that shit don't mean the same thing as it does here. Like, you know what I'm saying? People don't take that shit into account. A lot of times they don't fucking know. Like you ever seen like some old anime and how they used to draw black people? They wasn't being racist. They just didn't fucking know. They didn't know they was being offensive.
Man, I don't know, man. Listen, I don't think I can agree with you with that one, Jamil. I'm sorry. I can agree with a lot of your arguments here, but ignorance of cultural awareness just doesn't fly with me, man.
No, this is why, right? Think about how stupid we are to other cultures. You think they're not stupid to our culture?
But that's not right. It's not right, Jamil. Just because we are doesn't make it right. It's like I get that.
I will say this, right? The reason America is in so much turmoil is because, well, every other place is just as racist, but it's all one race, so it don't seem as bad a lot of the times. Like you can be racist in China because all y'all Chinese, so ain't nobody really gonna make a stink about it. You know what I'm saying? But when you live in a diverse country like America, the reason there's so many problems because there's so many mixed motherfuckers here. You go to Mexico, everybody in Mexico probably racist too, but you don't hear about it because they all Mexicans. What our biggest strength is also our biggest weakness. It's ironic. And you see, you thought I was gonna yell about Kanye West. I'm just saying.
I think you used Alyssa Milano as a cover for your real Kanye West feelings, so I didn't want to say anything, but
fuck Kanye West. But, yo, I think Kanye West is the greatest artist of the last 20 years.
Ugh, I wouldn't say that.
Yeah, whatever. You have no taste. But I think Kanye West is the greatest artist of the last 20 years, and that man has broke my heart. I can't even listen to his shit no more. That man has an African name. His mother was involved in the civil rights movement in the 60s. She used to get arrested as a child doing the sit-ins. She was a college professor. This man said George Bush don't care about black people when George Bush clearly didn't care about black people. And now he's this. And he's saying conspiracy theories. Talking about, there's evidence that Lincoln might have been black. No, there's not, Kanye. No, there's not.
When did he say that?
TMZ. TMZ.
I love that too, that he's like, now him and TMZ are great friends, when like 5 years ago he was suing every paparazzi in town.
That's what happens. That's what happens when your wife is a fucking blood-sucking vulture who depends on the paparazzi to be famous. Look, I'm going to tell y'all, this might be controversial. Kanye West need a black woman. That's what he needs. He needs more black people in his life. He need a black woman to tell him that he's tripping, and he doesn't have that right now. He married into a family that insinuates the worst parts of his personality. Because that was the genius of Kanye West. If people don't listen to Kanye West, is that like he had this real conscious side, but he also liked nice things. And like all his albums used to be about him fighting about those two sides of him. Where his mama died and he married into this thing. And it just accentuates the worst part of his, because I'm pretty sure they say he's tripping too, but they white, so it don't ring true. So if he married a black woman and they said he was tripping, he might listen. That's all I'm saying. I don't have.
Isn't she Armenian?
Yeah, they're half Armenian.
The Kardashians are Armenian, right?
Excuse me. To quote Chris Rock, I ain't got time to break up white people into little groups. I'm Romanian. You're a Romanian cracker. I ain't got look all that shit white to me. They can pass for white. All that shit white.
Christ.
Like if you said they was Italian, I would believe that too. Like they just slightly darker white people. They still white people. They shouldn't benefit from being at least looking kind of white. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying.
There's so many white-looking people from Egypt. Jamill.
Again, I'm just telling you how black people feel. All y'all white. I'm Italian. Okay, you still white. Like I hate that argument. Like, well, Irish was picked on when they first got here. Like, you hear that a lot, right? Yeah, but as soon as they let you in the club, you're like, fuck niggas. Like, as soon as they let you into the club.
It was before we got in the club, actually.
But that's my point.
That's how we got in, actually.
But that's my point, though. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like white, you can say, oh, all these different cultures. Yeah, different cultures. All y'all still white. Not y'all cool, but you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I don't. I actually don't.
I actually agree with you.
I'm white. Yeah. I'm segmented white. I'm
white.
Polish and Irish and
exactly.
Italian and Native American. I got it all.
Look, when you say that to a black person, like I'm Irish and Polish and Italian mix, in a black person's mind, he's just going, oh, he's a lot of types of white.
Yeah, that stuff actually only does matter to white people because then they look down on you for their own purposes.
Yeah, but you know what though? Black people just as bad. I've heard black people say they half Jamaican. I'm like, I don't know how that's possible because last time I checked, they're still black. But okay. Okay, I'm done, y'all.
Confirmation was a good movie that reflects our times well. So if you want to go check it out, it's on HBO Go.
It's okay. It's surface level. But yeah, you should go see it if you want to get angry and realize nothing has changed in the last 25 years.
Every week or every other week, I struggle to continue to do this show. So if this is my last show, I would like to say that I've gone out with a bang. So I thank you guys for possibly being my last show. It might be. Like, I'm not even kidding. I like beer. Good night, everyone. Have a good one.